Hey everyone, and welcome to another episode of 2.5 Salesmen. I'm your host, Mario, together with my phenomenally looking host, Giulio. He's just completed a 1 month eat just pills treatment, and he looks like a very vital 19-year-old boy with a exceptionally phenomenal beard. Hey, Giulio, how are you?
Thanks for talking about my beard, mate. Like that's gonna make my day. I think I'm gonna talk about that for the rest of the week on LinkedIn now.
How Mario complimented my beard. Cool. So today's guest is a very good friend of mine, Milos Matic. He's the current VC of the new fund from Serbia called Omorica. And also he has a long track record of working with startups and basically guiding them from one round to another. Milos, welcome to the show, man. How are you?
Hey guys, thanks for having me at all. I'm doing pretty good.
No problem.
Looking forward to the talk today. It's gonna be interesting.
It's well, you say that now.
Yeah, until we start grilling the crap out of you, then you'll be begging for your life.
Okay, so today's topic is basically, since we do have a VC in the house, what do startups need to achieve in order to get funding? And Milos will give his 2 cents, and then me and Giulio will most likely chime in. At some point, we will derail the conversation as usual, but then we will come back to it, and it will all be okay. So Milos, just kind of opening remarks. What do you see currently happening? Well, not just within your own funds, within Omorica, but with like the funds that you're cooperating with, that you're currently talking about.
Well, like three things happening right away. First, due to the economics and then geopolitics right now, the things have changed. VCs behave differently, so paradigm has been shifted dramatically. VCs right now are died down with the investments, just handpicking the startups that are generating revenue, more focused on profitability rather than scalability. Let's keep that in mind for the talk, I guess. This is one of the key differences the VC period, golden period from 2010 to 2021. And the other thing is fundraising, even for startups, is difficult right now, but even for VCs, is super more difficult than
why
why
would you say it's difficult for the VCs? Like what's changed in their mind?
In the mind of VCs, nothing has changed. I mean, drive right now for profitability and for startups, it's one thing. The key difference is dependent on two things. First one is portfolio or current investments that VCs made. Current portfolio of startups are not performing well because they're focused on scalability. They're not profitable. Sales are down most of the time. Because there was no focus on building long-term sales game rather than just quick wins, and you're not getting what you need to get as a startup in that's VC backed. And the other thing is that's for the front end for the VC. On the back end, that most people don't see, and that's the trick how VCs work. We fundraise every 5 years, and we're dealing with a lot of financial institutions. And right now, the investment, the landscape or the capital landscape has been shaken up. The VCs is high risk asset class, if I can say that like that. That only 10% to 15% of wealth usually goes into VC, and everything is more focused towards stock exchange, towards bonds, more safe investments. Some of them private equity, real estate is also there. Yeah. VC is only a smart percentage of the whole wealth invested in this asset.
So can we make an assumption here? Is that, put it very simply in layman's terms, right? Basically, before we kind of were throwing money at anyone and throwing shit at the wall, and now it's just like really looking under the skirts and figuring out, all right, are you just a founder with big ego, or you can actually put the money where your mouth is?
plastic is playing that set. Usually VCs, what they're doing, the modus operandi of VCs is stick the mud on the wall and see what's gonna stick and stay there. That's happening on a lot of waves or hypes. Usually it was blockchain, now it's AI. So you're gonna throw money at AI. Everything that mentions AI, machine learning, you're gonna throw money at them, and out of the 1,000, maybe 5 will succeed, and whoever picked those 5, those are the golden VCs. Right now, it's a little different. VCs
Those
need to
are
be more
those
careful.
are the VCs that will say that they know what they're doing, but no one knows what they're doing.
I was actually working recently,
Maybe.
like as a on a part-time basis. I was working until recently as a business analyst for a VC doing AI, and it's crazy
Like
how
investing
many
in
stuff.
AI?
What? Yeah, they
Investing,
just
yeah.
purely doing AI, purely pre-seed and seed. And I was just reviewing pitch decks and doing the first call with the founders, and it's crazy the amount of pitch decks that suddenly are showing up AI. And this would be, I swear to God, one time the guy said AI, and I was like, I sent him, he's like, so what's the AI exactly? And he was like, oh, we set up a alarm plugged into Bard. And I was like, you fucking joking me. And so,
fucking kidding me, dude.
we're keeping aware of the financial trend because we got something set up plugged into Bard.
Milos, I have an AI startup. You see this posted here? So it has written AI, so it must be true. God damn it.
Yeah. Anyway, I think we gave a clear picture.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, more or less, yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so how do you let's can you maybe walk us through a little bit through your selection process? Like when you receive a pitch deck or you listen to a pitch or whatever the first contact is, right? When you talk with a prospective startup, what are some of the things that you're looking at? Right. So and consequently, my guess is that startups that are looking to raise, those are the things that they should be highlighting, right?
Yeah, the first thing, the selection process goes into two. Let's go first. Conversation sake and keeping it simple. Big 2 phases. First one is initial meeting and screening of a startup, then due diligence process. That's deep dive into a whole thing. For the initial contact, when you receive a pitch deck, pitch deck is your ID, startup ID. You get it, you get yourself familiar with it. You see where the startup, in what industry they're working on. If they have anything to show for, that's the place you're gonna see it. Usually metric wise, how many customers, what are the sales up to date, financials, use of funds for the investment round they're raising. Usually the last slide is the amount of money they're asking, and I want to see where the money will go. Because I deal with a lot of seed startups, usually get a lot of like 50% of that of investment ask going to the development because they're developing a product, they're still in the market. But generally, as soon as I get the deck, I do a desk research of about 30 minutes about industry and any hot trends there are. And when I meet the startup, I go through their process of getting how they got the idea, how they find out that there's a problem, how they define the problem, did it test it out, what are the reactions of clients, and how they responded to the problem they defined, and so on and so forth. Just more abstract questions, nothing more specific to that.
And Milos, let me ask me more of a cutting question. So what would be 3 immediate disqualifiers? So you see something and you're like, nah, it's gone.
Solo founders.
Oh, okay.
Interesting.
Okay.
But that's fair enough. They're risking it.
Solo founders are high risk, and usually I take a meeting if I like the idea of startups, of a startup, or the pitch deck I received. But if usually solo founders are focused on one thing. Mostly in Southeast Europe or Central Eastern Europe, 90% of the time that's technical focus. So they're developers, and they're lacking business side. and that's a no-go. Because
Of
again,
course.
coming back to the initial thing, profitability and growth of business is also important. And that person usually, from my experience, because we have 6 failed investments, because we leaned upon solo founders gathering the team. They didn't have any incentive to be there. So solo founders are high risk. Yeah, like in most of the cases, that's red flag for me.
Okay.
Second thing is uh, no revenue.
Okay. I actually, when I remember when I was looking at pitch decks, unless the idea was really good, if they're, you know, how often the startups are really crafty when it comes to drafting a pitch deck that makes it look like there is revenue, but there actually isn't, right? And then when you ask them, so what's the MRR? Oh, our predicted the MRR. No, I'm not asking for predicted. I'm like,
not predicted.
what's the booked MRR that you have? And then they're like, well, we don't have any. It's like, goodbye, come back to us later. So yeah, absolutely.
Exactly. That's why if many of the startups come in as a B2B startups, and right from a get-go, you just ask them, okay, show me 3 clients you have, or get me the reference calls. That's the place where you lose them. They're gone. We can't provide that, or we don't have. That's the thing. You need
Really
and then the
interesting.
reference.
Okay. That's a good point. Like, I don't think we were asking for client references, but that's a very good point. Okay. Yeah, it makes sense. If you can't prove it, then I'll get a client, because you might have the revenue, but the client might be not
And
happy.
also, if you're a VC, right, and you talk to the client will honestly tell you how they're using the product and what is the actual problem. Like, fucking listen to your customers, right? And then you can assess whether or not this is a real problem. Is it nice to have? Was the founder who sold it like really good at making people sign things? I don't want to say sales, because that's not sales, right? Just making people sign shit. Or this is a legitimate problem that they are trying to solve. And
Agreed.
no better way to find that out than to talk to the potential clients.
Yeah.
But also you can get a pretty good glimpse of it and a feel about the founders when you meet them. And there's one guy usually, or a girl, that jumps in and leads the conversation. How they lead the conversation, initial intro meeting with me, that's also the thing I'm looking for. If they're really quiet and I need to lead the meeting.
So what are you looking for? Because I would argue that, especially if you have, let's call them all technical founders, most likely they're not skilled at talking with another human being. Right? So how would you assess that? Right? So how would you say, okay, this has potential. This is something revolutionary. They are onto something. But for the love of God, learn how to speak to another fucking human.
I think it's more, for the love of God, shut up.
But funny thing is, I just had a couple of days ago, or last week, similar talk with all technical founders, and how they described me was really picturesque. They're really visual people, and they're sort of sketching everything out for me. And due to the position I am, you need to learn technical talk when you talk to many startups. I throughout the years I've picked up on technology and everything else. So you can understand them to a certain point. They're not on their level, more or less. But again, you can catch up with what they're talking to, and they get really surprised when they're talking to you. It's technical. Then you say, I understand you, and we see the problem here and here, and then we develop the conversation. They open up. And that's another thing. You need to just open them up, show them that you understand that they're technical, but again, trying to get them to plastically explain what they want to do. And those guys I met last week, they're really good. I think either they're missing, completely the mark. No, there's idea, but these are deep tech. For a deep tech startups, then you need to pay attention to what they want to say. And the first thing is either they're missing completely the mark, or second thing is they're spot on, and I'm not capable of seeing what they're saying to me. So that's why you have a reference call with somebody from your team or somebody from a network that's more technical. Put them in a room, especially live meetings. There play a key role. Put them in the same room and just observe how they talk and what they talk about. And that's the decision when you're going to go. Okay, we're going to go deeper into due diligence. We're going to proceed with the potential investment, or say it's not for us. The timing is not right.
Okay, understood. I mean, I'm guessing that if we looked at Musk, Jobs, probably not the best talkers, right? I think even Jobs must have been pretty like arrogant, not very
he
easy
was a marketer. He was coached heavily.
Yeah, later, but I think if you met him
Later,
at the beginning, is probably and Musk like he still can't talk, right? So sometimes
they're super raw.
Yeah,
very raw. Yeah, well,
So-
that's the best, probably the best.
But look, that's the thing. That those guys can paint a picture what they want to achieve, and they were able to mobilize a fan base to actually get that going. I mean,
yeah.
Tesla, even though it was bought by Musk, that he didn't found it. SpaceX was there. I mean, those are the things you drive. You need to mobilize a fan base to get those things going. I'm not going to talk about Twitter or X, whatever.
That's a vanity project.
Okay. But you mentioned the 2 points. Is there a third disqualifier?
Yeah, the third one, I don't want to call it disqualifier. I tend to ask people at the end, very end of my last question of the intro meeting or the meeting afterwards. I ask founders either how do you see VCs in the way you're going to build the company, or just rephrase and to say, how can we help you build the company? What are the biggest risks you see on your way, and how can we mitigate it together? Usually, founders, they have no clue what they're gonna ask.
No,
they are
they
asking
just
only for money.
Just the money. Yeah, I was just about to say that. Oh, can I have some money?
And when you open up a different field, they start thinking about the investment differently. And not many founders will say, okay, I need this, and this, because I need to get the revenue going, or I need to get the product rolled out, or new market, whatever. Usually they stay quiet and respond to it either via email or anything else. If they don't have, what makes difference between great founders and founders? It's just that moment when they can say what they're missing, to be honest and transparent with themselves and say, I'm not good at this. Usually, we invest in.
But would you say that's because I expected you to say something like whether they're coachable or not? Because if they're not someone that's willing to take feedback, which I've talked to plenty of founders, they think they have all the answers with their 5K ARR, right? So I was wondering, like obviously as a VC, I would think if someone is coachable, I'm more willing to spend money with them, because if they're making if they're having a problem, I can fix it. While if someone is like, oh no, I know what I'm doing, then you're fucked, basically.
Yeah, you can put it that way as well. Yeah, coachable, cooperable. How are you going to put it? You need to work with with them for the next 5 to 10 years. So you need to be sure that you can clearly communicate, exchange ideas, and they will listen. You will listen as well. Not. It's a two-way street.
Okay. Cool. Interesting.
I
mean, go on, Mario. Sorry.
Go ahead.
No, I think this is more for me like a question that both of us would look at, right? Is that because we consult with small companies, both of us, right? And a question I would have more as a curiosity is like, how often do you find that the founders are not that willing to do sales themselves?
Yeah. all the time, or
is it always or just
is
5%?
is it always?
Well, look, I cannot put a percentage on that, but usually one founder leads the client side and one or the other are focused on tech. Usually the same person does it all. That's why solo founders are that not that
Of course.
they're a red flag. Um, I mean, lately, what I see, there are teams getting organized and startups being founded by people who actually left the corporate jobs, either in business development or client-facing side. So usually, the team of 3 or 4 people founding a startup have a person focused on sales. Nowadays, they call it revenue ops. They put it both for sales and marketing under one umbrella.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Revenue.
Which I think it's for me, revenue ops are the operation people that are
That's
helping
the
out.
technical guys, revenue.
Yeah,
ops.
exactly.
It's
Like
just revenue, right? So
yeah,
the revenue. So there are in essence 2 ways how a startup can make revenue. One is product-led growth, where if you have a chief revenue officer, you need CMO. And then under the chief revenue, you need enterprise sales to capture the big accounts. The other side, if it's not product-led, if it's sales-led, then if you have a CRO, your CRO is basically your VP sales. It has the entire sales org around him. You have client success over there. And then you just have people under you could have chief sales or VP sales or head of sales, right? Driving the sales organization. But then the marketing team will just be support. Like it's gonna be collateral, branding, copy to the website, and all of those things, right? So those are your two different models, right? When a startup comes and says, "Oh, we are 5 people and we have chief revenue,"
yeah, that's a fancy
okay,
title right now.
what?
That's a fancy title right now for everybody. That's I'm the head of sales, but just keep
God
it
damn it,
CRO.
that used to.
I want to be a C-suite, man.
I want to be the C-suite. I want to get 10
I
call calls
like
today and then bitch on LinkedIn how I'm getting call calls.
it's no like it's I mean look, I want to tell a small story because I have a client right now that I'm consulting, and we built his BDR team with 2 BDRs, and what I loved is at a certain point talking is like, it looks at me, is like, I should be doing this myself, shouldn't I? And I was like, well, look, the guys are motivated, but if you're gonna do it, it's gonna help a lot. And then he just thought, okay, I'm gonna do it, and just get on the phone. It booked a meeting the first like maybe 8 hours that he was calling, maybe less, because obviously they know what they're talking about, right?
Yeah.
So if you're willing to put yourself out there, it's not impossible. It can be done. So like that's why I was asking to figure out, is this common, or like are people just really scared of everything?
Well, look, if you're early stage startup, it's really crucial to have a founder selling it from early get go, because it's a different thing that founder shows up for a meeting than salesperson that you hired do the job, especially if you're early stage. I'm only talking about early stage, the seed stage. You need to feel the client, get the feedback going, and you'll be the person who can absorb it, circle it back to the team, and work out the product if you tweak the product if you need to. But the thing is, the problem comes to be when the founder who's focused on sales and getting all the clients in line and building the client base, building reputation, building relationships, suddenly starts fundraising or divides attention, and there's no team to absorb or take over the sales. So it's crucial for when you're building a sales whole pipeline, get the CRM rolling, and everything needs to be documented, and slowly hire a salesperson that can take over the sales, and founder needs to focus on bigger clients,
Yes.
the key clients, and focus on raising funds for the
Yeah,
startup. Those are the key things for a CEO.
I just have maybe just a small addendum to this, is that
Go
you
on.
should have one person dedicated to generating revenue, right? Whoever that is,
Yeah.
right? I would say
Yep.
that's the change. Because again, if you're product led or if you're sales led, it really depends on how you will acquire, let's say, your first 10 clients or your first clients that are not coming through your network that you actually don't know.
I look, I agree, especially because we've seen this before, especially me and you, Mario, that obviously if the founder has got 1,000 things to do, it's very unlikely they're going to prioritize prospecting. I mean, anyone really. Like if you got things to do that are more pleasant than cold calling, you're just not going to do cold calling.
No.
Simple as that. No. The only option is burning the ships, you know, and just leaving you nowhere to run apart from making the calls. Then or making the emails, making the LinkedIn. I mean, obviously, calling is, me and Mario love it, but that type of thing is what at the end of the day is going to get the result, I guess.
In the end, yes. Just, well, you can't pick up the phone anymore, right? Just turn on that power dialer / PAD and
I mean, right now you don't even need to do the cold call especially for the SaaS. I mean, you can automatize the process of and you can get the databases. Apollo.io, I know it's fantastic. I use it. You can just draw. Draw database.
Both Julie and I use something that is called human verified leads. So basically, this is a service. This is basically a company that has ZoomInfo, Apollo, Lucia, LeadIQ, all of these, and then you give it a list of titles and say, give me 200. And what they do is they call and they verify if that's the phone number for the person, and they will tell you these are verified, these are not verified. So we are using that. Plus, we are using ZoomInfo. So we are using 2 data sets. Like having just Apollo or just Lucia or just ZoomInfo today, if you want to get anything done, just simply doesn't cut it. No way.
I mean, I'm talking about.
You're breaking up, Miloš. Your sound. Can you come close to the? Yeah,
I think that right now is a little better.
It is a little bit better, yes.
Yeah.
That crisp is not working though. The thing is, actually, my thought was growth hacking and just finding cheap ways to get the first client in is possible. And human verified leads, that could come a little bit at the later date of startup life. Like if you're just, I'm having an idea right now, I need to sell, just use something that just starts selling.
Well, you use your network. The first 10 should come through your network, right? Or through your network's network, or through your network's network, right? Like that you shouldn't have to defend your credibility in the beginning, right? So you will use your network, and your network will assume you know what you're doing because you do have credibility with it.
That being the key word, assume.
Well, it is the keyword, right? Right. So because if you have to defend credibility and sell, that's a fucking hard job to do, man. I've gone through that. That's hell. That's literally, I will never do that again. No way.
True.
Do you want to hear a fun stat, at least for the startups from this region?
Sure.
Yeah, go on.
Do you know how many startups use seed stage startups use CRM actively?
No, just don't.
No, don't tell us this. We don't want to know this.
No, bad Miloš.
I know exactly.
Don't.
Oh, God.
How do you say? Don't pop our snowman. How many?
Yeah,
the lesson is get the CRM.
Yeah, man. But, I mean, and please don't fucking get HubSpot.
Or Zoho.
I never tried Zoho, but HubSpot,
It's
man, like
it is, there is I don't, Julio, I know you know this, but Milos, there is a wonderful German word, and that word is Scheiße.
Scheiße.
I thought you were gonna say
I was
Krankenhaus.
sure you were gonna say that.
Of course, that's my
Funny.
favorite German word is Scheiße.
Nice.
Okay,
Nice.
so let's wrap it up quickly. Milos, any final comments? Any final
Wisdom?
sentiments on this topic?
Let's say founders need to start selling as soon as possible. I mean, that's the VC need are looking for right now. Focus on profitability, looking at your financials, running pricing is good, getting checked all the time.
Yeah.
Get the financials in order. So sales, financials in order, and get the product on the market as soon as possible. Nothing too wise. I'm not. God knows what saying right now, but I need to repeat myself all the time because that's where focus needs to lie with founders.
Yeah. All right. Julio?
I would just say, as a founder, keep in mind that what you do kind of shapes how the company is going to look. So if you're not willing to do prospecting yourself, you're probably going to breed a company that doesn't want to do that. And that's really hard to get yourself out of. So I think leading by example is always the crucial part when I look at things like this.
I would say, and Julio and I had this discussion. Do you hire an SDR or you hire a VP sales as a first sales hire? You guys can watch the episode. It's probably somewhere in the beginning. My comment would be, if you're a founder, you gotta do sales. Even if you have a non-technical founder, so someone who does revenue or sales, you have to be the one to do it, right? Especially if you have no one. Don't hire SDRs or VP sales. You have to learn how to sell your own product. And then when you hire a VP or SDR, whatever it is, or a VA, then you will know how to onboard them and how to make their life easier. That's my 2 cents.
True.
Yeah, and just one last note. I just popped in my head. Usually founders are super difficult about their equity and defending the equity stakes in their company, the shares in the company. So if the founder is selling pretty good, profitable, by being profitable, they're defending their equity stake because they will not raise unnecessary rounds, unnecessary big rounds.
Poor valuations.
Poor valuations. And so it's again thing to put on a cast. So just keep that in mind as well. If you're selling good, if you're profitable, your equity will be safe for the end.
Milos, thank you very much for joining us. Everyone, I hope this was valuable, especially for all of you founders that are looking to fundraise. Please, we will put Milos's LinkedIn into the description of the video.
You're gonna get so many messages now. You
will get like gazillions.
Cold calls, cold messages. So I'm liking that.
Yeah. So please, if you have a startup and you're raising either a seed or Series A, ping Milos, get his feedback, and who knows, maybe you do have what it takes to raise a round and go to the next stage. Until the next time, everyone, have a great day. Bye.
Ciao.